Hi, it's Larry Shiller, voice of Backgammon, broadcasting live from San Antonio, Texas at the Texas Backgammon Championships. And we are joining Michael Neagu and Chris Trencher in their round one match in the Masters. And the score is 6-2. In a match to 11 points. Time is, you can see by the clock, there's 13 and a half minutes for Michael and almost 15 minutes left for Chris, so they're playing quickly. The clock started at 22 minutes each. And oh my gosh, Michael's got two men on the bar. Chris is attacking relentlessly. Michael could use a two right about now. Let's see what he can roll. And he rolls a 2 and a 4, gets both checkers in. And that's not likely to happen. That's only going to happen 1/4 of the time. Chris comes in with a 5-6, and he's probably going to continue to hit unless because he's got a 3-point board and Michael's got a 1-point board. So why not go for it? And Michael's going to see if he has another 2 in that cup. And he does. Look at this. So he's putting Chris on the bar twice. Chris now has 8 men all the way back. Oh, yeah, he can hit 2. That was a pretty good roll for Michael. So Chris has 2 men in the bar. He's going to kind of change his game plan. Nice that he rolled a 5, making his opponent's 5-point golden point. Michael's got a lot of work to do, but 3-2 looks great. He can hit 2 checkers with this. And he's got 15 men in the zone. So what I mean by that is, and he's going to hit 2. If you count the white checkers in his inner and outer board, he's got 10 altogether. And Chris cannot come back and hit Michael. So Michael's way ahead in this race. Chris has all these men back. His 6 men are in his home board, and they're deep in his home board. So this is a great roll, great play from Michael. Chris really needs to come in. He does with both checkers. And Michael has a good attack going, though. But he's sort of in the same boat as Chris was a moment ago, with deep points in his home board. Anyway, double 2s. What a great roll. So Michael comes in with those 2s. And what is the other remaining 2? Does he bring a man down to his 9 points so he has more men to attack? Does he block 6s? He might be wanting to block Chris's 6s, even though he'd be leaving 3 blots strewn around the board. So we'll see what he ends up doing. Interesting play. And he's just sort of, buttoning up, preparing to get his checkers out. And Chris comes in with a 5-4 and is going to hit because, the boards are pretty even. Maybe he can get some way back into this race. These are both experienced players. Chris is from New York and plays generally around a 4 PR. There's some variance to that, but he's a good student of the game. And I played Michael in the past, found him to be a very strong player. So we'll see what situation is here. It looks like there is some thought about doubling. And so Michael's thinking about cubing. Because I think it's on Michael's roll because he's behind in this match 6-2, and but it's really not a cube at this point, especially from the bar. But he comes in with a 2-1 and fortunately can make that play. Doesn't have a lot of ones to play. 6-2 for Chris, and that hits on the 5-point, and it also lets him run a checker if he wants, but he can also make the bar, right? Playing safely, even though he's really behind. But look, White's got a lot of work to do. He's got to bring his checkers out. But Chris is going to lose control of the outfield. Chris is red. He's got those 2 checkers on the midpoint, and they're if he rolls 3s and 1s, he's not really in a position to do anything else but move those checkers. So let's see what happens here. It's an interesting double situation because Mike was so far ahead in the race, and it's going to really be tough for Chris to bring those checkers around. But Mike's got to do the same thing. So we'll see what happens. This is the first day of the Masters events that's happening, and tonight is going to be the Open. So we've got a lot of action coming from San Antonio, Texas. This tournament is Bill Riles runs this tournament, and Tara Mendocino does live streaming for literally dozens of matches. So, I'm only able to do commentary one at a time, but a lot of actions available. Michael decides not to double, and he rolls a 6-5, so he can clear one of those checkers out to safety. He could put 2 in the outfield and make it difficult for Chris to kind of move around. We'll see what he does here. He could also make the 3-point, and making the 3-point probably is a strong play because you're making a stronger board, a 4-point board. He's got 2s and 5s to come in, and then 3s and 4s to hit, 2 6 hits. But he's not going to do it. He's not going to take that opportunity. He's going to prefer to race it, and you really can't argue with that because he's so far ahead in the race. Why take the chance? But Chris, could roll some nice numbers. Double 2s, 4-2 would certainly put him in a position to maximize contact. But he's got a 5-2. So what does he want to do with this 2? He's thinking about coming up to the 20-point, to Michael's 5-point, or just moving that checker all the way to the midpoint, which I think he's going to end up doing. He's not. It's interesting. Even though he's so far behind, you think he'd want to just maintain that contact. And Michael doubles. He didn't like Chris's play. He thinks, that's too weak. And boy, the race is huge here. But it actually might be a take at this point because it's not, it's a little gammony, but not that much. It's not like Chris is going to get gammon 30% of the time. It is, maybe 15%, 20% possible gammon chances for Michael to gammon Chris because he's just so far ahead in the race. But Chris is thinking about it because of the score. It's probably an easy take for money, and it's not a take here. Chris says, no, thank you, and decides to pass. Didn't like his position. I think there's a lot of play left. I think it was a great double by Michael, and certainly if you're Chris, you don't want to see a double like that at this point in the match. But, Michael is now an even number away, so, a 4-cube gammon wins in the match, so let's see what happens here. So actually, from that standpoint, it didn't matter if he's, got 3 or 4 points. Opening 6-2, standard play. So if you're a beginner player, you'll notice he plays a 6-2 and it looks really risky. But if you're going to take risks, beginning of the game, that's the time to do it because your opponent has no home board. That's the big danger. You don't want to stay out on a home board. Michael came back with double 4s and then 4-1. Everybody's buttoning up at this point. Oh, Chris makes a nice roll. He would have made that bar point anyway. Mike now has 2 checkers trapped behind Chris's 4-point prime, but Chris is pretty stripped. 4-1, probably just best to come. Yeah, it's great. Can't argue with that. That puts a lot of pressure on Chris. And a 5-4, he's going to make the 4-point. He doesn't have much of another play. He could bring 2 men down. He could make the 2-point. But making the 4-point seems to be the only real option for Chris here. He's looking at it. And see how he keeps his checkers high up on that 4-point? He's doing that just so everyone knows it's not a final move yet, and it's easy to take your checkers back to get to the original position. It's tough. Now he's taking a look. Oh, and he looks at this and he does it quickly. It could be the right play. Certainly, reasonable choice. Double 4s for Michael. Not his great roll. Probably play 6-2 just to unstack and leave the 4-point prime, but he could also bring 2 men down from the midpoint. And that might be a reasonable play. Oh, this is interesting. He's going to make his 4-point and lose the 4-point prime. Chris rolls double 5s. What a fantastic roll. I'm not sure I know what he's thinking about. Well, I guess I do. He's thinking about hitting 2 checkers in his home board and going in on the blitz. He's got 13 checkers to blitz with, and he's got his opponent's 5 points. So why not? This is a very strong play for the gammon. He's probably too good to double after this roll. So he's going to play on for it, and Michael's got to make a pretty nice roll. And he does a 5-3. Chris may want to double this. This may be a double now. Probably too good before. Now it's so risky. He is turning the cube. Even though he's up 6-3, he's turning it. And Michael's got an interesting decision here because Michael is, if you're looking at the race is fairly even. So he has a chance if Chris's blitz fails that Michael will have a good chance to win the game. So most of Chris's wins are going to be gammons here. It's a very high gammon, and so it's most likely a drop for Michael, even at this score. But let's take a look, because if he gets gammon, Chris will be up 10-3, and that's really, he's got like a 5-6% chance to win the match if that happens. Does he want to take that kind of risk? It's a huge risk to take. That said, if Michael drops this double, and just, maybe what's going through his mind, what will the score be? Well, score will be 7-3. Chris will be winning. And Chris would then only be 4 points away from that 11-point, winning number. So any gammon that Chris wins that's doubled is going to win him the match. So this is an interesting score, 5 away, 8 away. And I say 5 away, 8 away because Chris has 6 and he's 5 points away from winning the match, right? Because the match is to 11. And Michael has 3 points and he's 8 points away. And Michael decides to drop. He says, it's too risky, too risky. At this score, 4 away, 8 away, Chris is definitely, in command of this match. He's got great opportunities to win this match, and Michael's got to be very, very careful of the doubling cube at this point, because any gammon that he loses with a cube loses the whole match. So it's a very careful play for Michael. It's definitely gammon save. He wants to save the gammons against himself. All right, Chris starts out with a 6-5. It's a great opening roll. Michael returns with a 3-1, which is a great response. And these are the great plays. These are the plays you want to make. Chris is just running. He says, let me get that checker out of there. I don't want to be stuck behind Michael. And can Michael hit? No, he misses. He's got a 4-3. Clearly, he's got to come up. He decides to come all the way up. And I like the play. And he's got a 5-4 for Chris, so he's going to play safe. This is just kind of your classic holding game shaping up here. Michael rolls double twos. Terrific roll. Does he come all the way out to the bar point? This is not that far behind in the race. And that might be a possible play, or alternatively stay in the 5-point and really prevent his development. Making the 5-point and his own 4-point seem pretty solid. And on the other hand, he may want to make his 4-point, just leave his checkers there, and maybe bring a checker down to the 9-point. So these are all the decisions. It boils down to Marty Storr and Mary Hickey wrote a book called What's Your Game Plan? And that's really what Michael's thinking about here. So for beginning players, you might think, gee, how do I play this role, especially doubles, because there's so many choices. So here, it's a question of what's going to win me the game most of the time. And what Michael is playing for is to maximize contact with Chris. Clearly, if he's going to try to maximize contact and encourage Chris to hit him, he wants to have the best possible board. So if he's going to make that play, come out to the bar, then he's going to make his 4-point. And so this is a great play, I think, on Michael's part. He's got a clear game plan. Hey, look, Chris made a great roll, 6-1, terrific. Got a 4-point prime. This looks familiar from last game. Michael comes in with a 4-2. Last time he had a 4-1. He moved one up. This time he's going to keep the checker back on the 1-point. That white checker stayed all the way back. Why? Because it gives Michael much more contact. Chris can't play in back of him. Here he rolls a 1-6, and he's pretty stuck behind that prime. Chris is looking pretty good. Not really much gammon chances here for Chris, but he's way ahead. And so this is a strong double, certainly for money, and it might be a drop in a money game, but in a match score, this could very well be a take for Michael. You put yourself in Michael's shoes, he's going to need some good dice. This is probably a take. But he drops it very quickly, doesn't think about it. This score, he might have given it a little bit more thought, but very well could have been a correct drop. It's not a drop I would have made. I would have taken that and played on and make Chris, make his home board points and, have me not hit the number of shots he's going to be leaving for me. All right, opening 6-3 again, you'll see other players come out and leave those 2 blots. They've got coverage all over the board. Michael makes a nice play with a 5-4 to come out and hit. And Chris is going to come in with a 1-2. He can't hit anybody. He might make his 2-point. It's dangerous to slot here because it's gammony to do that, but he is going to do it. I guess, if there's a time to do it, this is the time. He knows he's taking a big risk with lots of numbers. Any 4, 4-1, 4-6, 4-5 is going to hit 2 checkers. It's a great roll. And so Michael has a decision here. Does he want to go on the attack by hitting 2, or does he want to just safety up and get into a standard holding game? And he says, look, I'm behind, let me attack. Don't know if it was right, though, because he's only got 8 checkers in the zone, and Chris does come in and hits Michael. So Michael didn't have a better board. It's really question whether that was the right play or not. Double 4s, though, that's terrific. Look at that. So can he hit 2 checkers here? No, I don't think he can actually hit 2 checkers. He can make the 2-point. He can. Oh, he can hit 2 checkers. I missed it, and there you go. And that's exactly what he did. So, wasn't looking at that 4 from the outfield. And by the way, so I missed that play. Didn't even see that he could do it. And if you look at the expert players and you ask them, what's the best thing? What are the moves they miss? It's the ones that they don't see. It's not where they're looking at all the possibilities and then they're just not making the right decision. Usually, when they make a blunder, it's because they just didn't see the play. It's pretty common even for expert players and not expert players like myself. All right, so Chris is on the board. He's and they're playing dice not on the checkers. I believe that the tournament rules actually in this tournament are dice on the checkers do count, but apparently not by agreement of these guys. All right, so Chris comes in with a 5. They're laughing. I don't know if that's what they're laughing about, knowing that they're being streamed. Chris comes in, makes the 5-point, and Michael's with a 5-2. He'd like to cover that. He'd like to cover that 3-point, make a 3-point board. Seems hard to argue with, and maybe even just get off the 8-point because he can't really hit him. So what's the question? What's the play? Or do you just go to safety from to the midpoint? So he's certainly well ahead in the race, and he is going to do that because he's well ahead in the race. Can't say that that's necessarily bad. If he rolls a 1, though, he's going to wish he took it back, and he did roll a 1. I guess Michael didn't want to break his 8-point, so fair enough. And now he's coming out with a 6. Now Chris is leaving a lot of return shots here, but he feels like he can do it because he's got Michael's 5-point. See those 2 checkers at the top of the board to a little bit left of center? Boy, that is the most important point on the board. If you're going to take some risks, if you have your opponent's 5-point, you can take those risks pretty much with impunity because you can always get back in. All right, Chris does not have a 1 if he plays that, so he plays the 1 in, and then safety's up with a 5. This is a pretty classic holding game shaping up. Michael rolls a 2-1, and he's got to decide how he wants to play this. He does make the bar point, his own bar. It's unlikely Chris, if he rolls a 3, is going to hit. And Chris rolls double 5s. He's got some decisions to make. He pretty quickly decides he's going to make his 3-point because he's still behind in the race. So that was an easy decision for Chris. He didn't want to leave his opponent's 5-point. And Michael rolls a 6-1, so what's he going to do with this? He could slot the 3-point in his own home board. And he's looking at that right now. He could just play that 1 and then a 6 down. Because, again, it's unlikely. I like this play a lot better. It's unlikely Chris is going to leave rolling a 4. Right? Chris has a 5-3. Well, he could slot his own 5-point. And he's thinking about it. He could play 6-3. Really, it's just his 2 plays that he's got here. Let's see what he does. He decides to play safe. Not clear that that's right. It might be best to, slot his own 5-point, but we'll see what he does. He's got a lot of choices. Very tough position. It's really hard to know. And he makes that, hard to argue with. It's just he'd like to roll a 4 now at some point and be able to clear his back checker. Michael is thinking about doubling. Very interesting. He is probably doing a pip count right now to see exactly how ahead he is in this game. And let's do a quick pip count. Pip count is the number of triangles each checker has to go to get off the board. So, for example, Michael's got, he decides not to double. He did roll double 2s, which is a great roll. He can simply bring 2 men down and make his 9-point, cover it up. He's looking at the first 2. I think he'll just continue with those 2. And so Michael has a man on Chris's 21-point, 2 men there. So that's worth 21 plus 21 is 42. And assuming Michael does bring those two men to his 9-point, I'm just going to do quickly. 64 and 42 is 106, and 18 is 124, and 8 is 132. So it's 132 for white, and red has more. No question. All right, 5-1. Now, I guess you're going to slot the 2-point, prepare at least to make that part of your own board. And let's see what Chris has. He's got 64 and 26 is 90, and 42 is 132, and 140. 143 is 132. So it's pretty close. This race is pretty close. It's anybody's game in the race, actually. So let's see what Chris can come back with. He'd like to try to hit. And they're not playing that 4-3 is legal. Chris is going to re-roll, see what it comes up with. He's got a 5-3. He keeps rolling those 5-3s. So he can't touch Michael because he needs 2s or 4s or 11s or 9s to hit. And 5-3 isn't any of those. So it's a really pretty lousy roll. And what's he going to do with it? He could stack up on his 3-point and not leave a shot. That's just ugliness to find. It's really tough to know what his alternative is. He could bring one checker down, and what's he going to do with his 3? So he's really got a tough play here. And so he's going to make the play at least to make a home board. If he doesn't get hit with a 1, he can make his home board. Sounds reasonable. Michael says, "You got all these blots, Chris." Like, forget it. Chris says, "Thank you for doubling." Happy to give that to you. And now we're at 8-4. Chris is 3 away, and Michael is 7 away. Usually when a player who's ahead is only 3 points away from winning, in a match like this, and he's way ahead of his opponent, which is the case here, you will not see Chris turning this cube anytime soon. Chris has got to be a lock. Without possibility of getting gammoned, and that is why Chris just doesn't want to turn the cube, because it's way too risky. Michael can turn it back, win a gammon, and be right back in this game. In fact, if he turns it back and wins a gammon, he's going to win the game, win the match. All right, so we've got 6-4 for Chris. He's running. Michael's getting stripped on the midpoint already. Rolls a 5-4. It's easy. He makes his 5-point. Really no other play. That seems to make any sense. 2-1 for Chris, so he's going to safety up that checker. Decide what to do with the 2. Probably bring him down. He could slot the 4-point, but, leave him at 6-4 and be done with it instead of 15 numbers if he slots his 5-point. And a 6-2 for Michael. This is, let's go and run out, get that checker out of there, keep him from making points in his home board. 5-4 for Chris, lets him hit, and he can hit 2, and maybe worthwhile hitting 2, because now he can actually blitz, and he's taking a look at it. There's some possibilities here, what he can do. He's got to hit with a 4. I don't know if there's any other possibility. And look, he's safetying up. I don't know if he didn't look at the hit. Hitting 2 checkers, he maybe didn't want to do it because his opponent's home board is better. And he rolls double 5s. Well, Michael's not taking any time worrying about hitting Chris on his 1 point. He's going to hit him in cover and bring another checker down for good measure to continue the attack. So Michael's in pretty good shape here. Chris is unable to come in. There's 3 points, 2, 3, and 4 that Chris can come in on. The probability that you stay out, that you don't roll a 2, 3, or 4 is 1/4. And here Chris says, "I am dropping this double in a heartbeat because you've got a better board. I don't want to get gammoned and be in a situation where I'm behind in this match." So Michael is coming back in this match. Now let's see how far back he can actually come. All right, they're setting up the board. There's an opening 4-3. Michael plays this correctly. This is a gammon go play. In other words, he's trying to bring as many checkers down to attack as possible in the beginning of the game. Chris doesn't let him get away with it, though. He rolls a 6-3, puts him on the bar. And Michael says, "Great, I'm going to make your 5-point." So we've got, players making good rolls, good hits, good plays. 4-3 for Chris. He's going to safety up. He's got 3 triangles now with 4 more checkers on it. That's stacking. But he makes a decent roll next time. He'll be okay. Oh, Michael makes a nice roll, makes his 5-point. Very smooth. Double threes for Chris. Double threes. What do you do with this? Do you continue or do you come? Yeah, block his numbers. Pretty simple. He could have also run a checker all the way up, but then he wouldn't have a 4-3 to play. 6-1's great for Michael. Makes it much harder for Chris to escape now. And he rolls a 5-4, and so he's not going anywhere, and he's going to have to leave a shot. There's really not a way. Well, there's a way. Is there a way to avoid leaving a shot? I'm not seeing it. I do not see a way to avoid a shot, so he'll probably play 13-4 and hope to make his 4-point next time. Alternatively, he could play 8-3. See, this is great. Good players are going to look at all the possibilities. They're not going to jump to what the play is. And here, look, if Chris leaves a shot there on the 9-point, Michael, most likely, if he's going to hit it, has got to leave his own 5-point, which leaves him open to attack. But Chris decides to come all the way in. Michael, he's behind. He's been doubling to catch up, and he's thinking about it now. If he rolls that 3 or a 1-2, which is 13 numbers out of 36, so it's got a reasonable probability of that. He's going to be ahead in the race. He's got a 4-point prime. He's a favorite to win the game. So he's thinking, I'm going to do that, and so I'm going to double you. There are also some other great numbers. Double 2s, double 1s for Michael play very, very well because they build a 5-point prime. Let's see what he's got. Double 6s is not bad. That is a great roll. He's got some choices. He could hit and make a 4-point board, and that's pretty powerful because not only does he hit, put him on the bar, have a much better board, but there's a blot to shoot at. So he's doing this. This gives him the best. Chris did not want to see this play. He's got to come in and safety up. And he does. He plays a 3-6, which is really a great roll. Now he's going to leave a shot, but he's going to make his 3-point board. He's duplicating 3s right now, by the way. But there really is, if you come out with a 6, you leave him 4s. So there's no other 6 that he can play. It's just he's going to just suck it up and make his 4-point and a 3-point board. So Michael's in pretty good shape if he can roll a 5. And he does. He rolls the 5. And now he's, and even safety's up. So, Michael's in very safe. Even if Chris makes a great roll here, which he gets in. That's great to start out with. He's going to come out with the 6, probably leaving 3s and 5s or play. No, I like that play. Yeah, playing your home board. There's a lot of numbers that hit, though. Michael is going to hit with any 2 or a 3. And a 3-1, he's certainly going to hit. He'll probably move the checker in the outfield one up. So we'll see what happens. Chris is going to be pretty nervous. Chris needs a good roll here. He's in danger of facing a 5-point board, getting gammoned. And he stays out with double 1s. Michael's in charge. He needs a 3 or a 2-1 or double 1s. He rolls a 3-2. He's going to cover the 3, and he's going to bring the 2 down from the midpoint. Chris still has 4 numbers, but, double 4s too. It's pretty nice. 4-2, look at him. He comes in. Oh, it's a great roll. And he plays 8-6. He's back in the game. Chris really needed that. Chris has been rolling very well from the bar. He was in real big trouble. And he's not out of trouble. But he's also not that, far behind in the race. So another set of boxcars for Chris will actually put him in command. May probably make him a favorite. But he didn't do that. Double 1s, pretty nice. What do you do with this double 1s? Do you hit and safety up? Probably. You want to get ahead in the race. So maybe you hit with 1 checker, with both, hit with 1 checker, then play 3-2 twice, and decide on your last one. And he doesn't want to leave him 1-6, 3-6, 5-6, so he brings them both down. So that looks like the recommended play. And Michael comes in on Chris's 3-point board. He's leaving, it's actually a great roll for him. 5-4 is so tricky for Chris. What do you do? It might, you could consider running. And if Michael doesn't roll a 4, he's in pretty good shape in this match. Uh, Probably better to hit, keep your anchor. Even if you get hit here, you're likely not to get gammoned. But he doesn't do it. Michael doesn't. What does he do for the one? This is a terrible roll. If he plays the 5 in, he doesn't have a 1 to play anywhere. He could like play 3 to 2 or 2 to 1. And if he comes in with a 1, what does he do for a 5? He leaves himself completely open to attack. This is probably one of those times when Michael may want to leave 3 blots hanging out on the board. It's really risky, but he's got so much of a better board. This is a tough play. If you come in on the 1 and then you play 20 to 15, look at all the numbers Chris has to point on you. Well, he's got 8 numbers right off the bat to point on the 5 point, and plus 5, 1, so that's 10 numbers. Yeah, he's going to do that. I don't know. I think that was the time to take some chances. Chris's board's only going to get a little better here. 3-2. Well, didn't happen. Got the 3 there. And he's got to figure out where the 2. He might probably, I don't know. What do you do with this? I have no idea what he's going to do with this. But he didn't play a 2. Did he play a 2? I don't think he played a 2. He just played a 3. He played both checkers in. He played 6 to 4, 7 to 4. Michael rolls a 6-3, and so he's leaving Chris with 7s. 2-5, 1-6, 3-4, 3-5 is Chris's famous 3-5. At least this time he can make his 1 point. And I think that's probably what he's going to want to do. And if he does that, Michael's going to want to roll a 9. Oh, but sorry, he's got 5-3. Of course he can make his 3 point. It's even better. I think it's better. Maybe not. He does want to leave himself some room to be able to run. Tough play. No idea what's right here. Chris is looking at it. He's obviously not sure either, but he says, look, let me make my points in board order, so I'm going to go for that. And let's see if Michael can get both those checkers out of there. And he gets one of them out, the 4-2. He safeties it up. Chris is in trouble, because what's he going to do? He's going to 3-1. Oh, 3-2. Ooh, so close. 3-1 would have been great. But he's going nice play, makes his 1 point and leaves himself 1s and 5s to cover. So it's a nice play by Chris there. Michael now is just looking to safety up and trying to get home, ideally by rolling some nice doubles. But he's got a 4 and a 3. It's a good roll. He played it well. Chris needs a 3 to hit and a 1 or a 5 to cover. Double 4s is not his favorite roll because he can't move his backman. So he's ahead in the race, but he's likely to get attacked. He doesn't have a home board to contain Michael, so Michael's going to be on the attack. Michael might be thinking about leaving Chris force. I doubt it. I think he's just going to play that all the way. And he's deciding where the 4 is going to go. Probably just keep going. He's going to leave him 6-4, double 5s, double 6s. That's the roll. Double 3s will also hit. He rolls a 4-3, doesn't have any choice. This is a forced play. There is no other play for Chris. He's thinking about it to see if there is some other play. He realizes there isn't and hits the clock just to give himself. But it's smart. He left himself, he took whatever time he had on the clock. And that was great. Look at Michael, what a great roll. It's 2 checkers. Chris is in big danger of getting gammon if he can't roll a 4, and he doesn't. Michael needs a 4 or a 7. Or a 10 to come in, and he rolls a 6, 5-1. He can't cover that man, but he's definitely going to leave him. He's going to leave him there because he wants to close out this board. So play the 5 down and play the 1 in. Now you've got 3 men bearing down on that 4 point. So no matter what, you're going to get a shot. It's an interesting play. Guards against double 4s. How interesting. And he rolls a 4-1. I don't understand that play. He wanted to have all these men bearing down. But we'll see. It could work out. Let's see what Michael has. Does he have a 3? He's got a 6-2. Comes in with a 6. Moves the 2 into hitting position. It's just an interesting play. 4-6. Look at that. He would have had a direct shot on him, but he's got 4s and 5s to hit, and double 3s hits. He just sneaks up there. He's got 1 more 3 to play, and what's it going to be? So he's going to not leave all these shots. I would have played 8 to 5 because I want to close him out. But look at Chris. He rolls a 4-3. Chris is really doing a great job entering. He might win this game. in the race, one set, and he's all there. But who rolled the set? It's Michael, and he gets first blood. Is he going to take that checker off? Or is he gonna? Yeah, he's gonna take it off. Go ahead, take it off. You know, you got a slight gammon chance. It might give you a little bit extra. Chris has the 4-2, and he's gonna run with that. Chris still has that blot at his 3-point. He's nervous about that. 5-1. No, that's easy. Just take the checker off. It's a great roll for Michael. Makes him play safe. Chris has his 4-3. This is pretty much all over but the shouting, unless there's a 6-2 in the cup here. There is a 3-1, gets 2 off. Chris is going to start to get nervous about getting gammon shortly. He rolls a 6-2, and now he's got his decision. Do you run? Stick around. I think you want to, usually the decision point is when the opponent has 8 men or less, you want to run. Chris is in this position here where, maybe he can make the race work, and but he wants to avoid the gammon. That's the most important thing. You just don't want to get gammoned. And if Michael rolls 2 sets, he's in danger of doing that. 4-2. Chris is now off the gammon no matter what he rolls. If he rolls 2 2-1s, he's still there. Very unlikely that he's going to win this game, though. Michael's rolled a 3-1, 2-1, and double 1, so he's not exactly burning up the board over here. But he's taking a look at it again. I think you want to take 3 checkers off. He's looking at a way to achieve the gammon. And he's, I don't know what he's thinking. This is, you're not going to win a gammon here. So it's impossible. So what is the best play? Just in terms of, if you could take 2 checkers off, you take 2 checkers off. I don't understand it. I don't get that play. He's going to definitely take 2 checkers off next time, though. But look at Chris. He rolls double 4s. If that was a blunder for Michael, it could cost him. Let's take a look. Well, I don't think so. He rolled double 5s. This match is over. This game is over. Chris is not willing to give up so quickly. He rolls double 6s. Chris has 8 men. Michael has 6. If Michael rolls a couple of 2s, 5-1. All right. This is good. This could go down to the wire. Chris, let's see those doubles again. Come on. 4-1. He's off at 1, 2, 3. So it's still possible Chris could win this game. Not any longer. So it's over. And the match is not over. It's 8-7. And that means 3 away, 4 away. And these gentlemen are going to take a break. And I'm going to be taking a break. And we'll be back shortly. This is Larry Shiller, voice of Backgammon, broadcasting live from San Antonio, Texas, at the Texas Backgammon Championships. All right, we'll keep streaming. We'll leave the board up. We'll be back in a moment. And we're back. Okay, it's 3 away, 4 away. So we're getting close to the end of this match. Chris has 8. It's a match to 11. And welcome back to Larry Shiller and the voice of Backgammon. Nice to have you with us. We're live streaming from San Antonio, Texas at the Menger Hotel, old historic hotel. And this match score is a really tricky match score for the players. You know, Chris needs 3 points to win the match. Michael needs 4 points to win the match. So that's why we say it's 3 away, 4 away. And that's how these good players are looking at the decision making that goes into the doubling cube. Very important. So here, Chris is thinking, okay, if I double, and Michael is very likely to take this, and if Michael doubles, Chris is likely to take it unless there's a gammon chance. And so that's what really matters. And I shouldn't say they're likely to take it. They're likely to double early, and not likely to actually take it. Sorry, so I got that a little backwards, because Chris now has a 50% chance to win the game after dropping that double, but if he got gammoned, he'd lose the match. So if the position is a little bit gammony and the four-away player doubles, the player who's winning the match really needs to be sure he's not going to get gammoned, and his winning percentage is at least 40% before he's 35-40% before he's willing to take that cube. And Chris didn't feel that was the case. So now we're playing a 3-point match. And the strategy here is to double earlier than you normally would. It does gain somewhat of an advantage. Now Chris is way ahead now. You'll see a double coming from Chris probably, because unless Michael can start priming Chris as well. And the 4-2 sort of does that, but Chris is in a pretty good position. But this is a prime versus prime type of game, which typically does not result in gammons, and could change very quickly based on a lucky roll, a joker. They call it a joker. A lucky roll in backgammon is called a joker, and a really unlucky roll in backgammon is called an anti-joker. So it's some of the terminology these players use. And Chris has his 5-1, and he's just going to safety up. He might have considered moving his checker from 23 to 22, but he likes the idea of getting out with both 5s and 6s if Michael doesn't make his bar point. Now, Michael rolled a 5-1. This is not a great roll for him. He could safety by playing off the 9-point to his 8-point and to his 4-point. But the 1 is really a little problematic. Doesn't have a good 1 here. He could hit on the 1 point and then move a checker up. So that's something that he might consider, because Michael's stuck with 2 checkers back there, and because Chris made his bar point, so he can't get out. So it might have been better to gain a tempo by hitting and moving up, but he didn't do that. And now Michael's on the bar. Might have been there no matter what. Oh, what a 4-3! What a great roll! His strategy paid off. So Chris can't be happy about that, because really Chris had him locked in. And Chris rolls a 5-4, and he can, safety up with a 4, and he can make on the 1 point. Probably making the 1 point looks pretty solid here, because now you got a 4-point board, twice as good as Michael. And if Michael doesn't really have a play, if he comes in with a 4-2, what's he going to play? Or 4-3, something like that, or a 2-3. He's going to have to, like a 2-3 would be pretty terrible. He's going to have to leave another shot. So this gives Chris some gammon chances, actually. That was, I think, the right play. Really puts Michael in a difficult situation. And there's one of those rolls, a 4-3, a 2-3 that we just talked about. That really puts a lot of pressure on Michael. He's going to have to leave a shot. And, if you're going to leave a shot, you might as well hit him. So play 8-5 and give yourself a chance for a game. But he doesn't do it. He's not taking the risk. He's just leaving him a 2-shot. He really could have done better. But he would have hit him no matter what. He rolled a 5-2, so it didn't matter what he did. He would have gotten hit regardless. Chris plays that really fast. He comes out with a 5. He realizes he didn't really have another 5 to play. 4-5 for Michael. These guys are coming into the home boards very, very well. They're not bouncing. It's not uncommon against a 4-point board to stay out 4 or 5 times. I have not seen it in this match to date, and it makes for a very exciting match. So we're actually thankful for that. Michael's looking at coming out with a 5. He's going to leave a double shot, 4s and 6s if he does that. But he really, what alternative does he have? The only alternative he has is to hit. in his home board. He missed that opportunity last time, and hitting that deep on the 3-point in his home board probably is not going to do him that much good. It's a very, very risky play, and his home board's terrible compared to Chris's. So, if you look at all that, this is probably the right play. And Chris rolls, and he rolls a 6, and he can safety that checker up, and probably won't come up with a 2. This might be the time to come up with a 2 or safety it. Yeah, it's a little tricky. Not clear. He'll need 2s and 4s to get out. Does come up with a 2. Michael really ought to hit there if he can. 2-5, 4-5, 3-5 stays out. Chris has a good double here because it's a tough take for Michael. Put yourself in Michael's shoes. That's called Woolsey's Law. In other words, when you double, you think about what the opponent, if you were the opponent, would you want to get that double? If the answer is no or you don't know, it's probably a very good double. So big tip for beginners. That's a simple rule to follow. That'll help you win a lot of games. All right. It was a quick drop, by the way, for Michael. He said, no, this is too gammony for me, too risky, too low a percentage. Now, this score, 2 away, 3 away, this is really tricky. Michael doesn't want to double this unless he has some chance of a gammon, because if he wins a regular game, he's a 50-50, it scores 9-9, obviously you're 50% chance favorite. And also, by the way, it's interesting, if the score is 9-9, well, we'll talk about that if we get there. Because it's really the same as what they call double match point, even though it's not. So that sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. We'll talk about it if we get there in this game, and that would only happen if Chris wins a single game or Michael drops Chris's double. We'll see what happens. And look, Chris may very well double this if there's no chance of a gammon. He's really ahead in the race. Michael will have, if Michael drops a double in this situation, he's about a 33% chance to win. So, because he's got to win, it's a little less than that probably, but whatever. There are people who play this game know those percentages down to the 10th of a percentage point. Chris is going ahead, making his home boards. Very close game right now. Very evenly matched race. You can tell that Chris is up by 2 pips, right? Because he's got the 4-point, Michael has the 5-point. All the other checkers are the same. So Chris is up by 2 pips. Now he's down by 8 because Michael rolled a 10. And some players actually track that pip count throughout the whole match. They can tell you at any point exactly what it is. They've been tracking it. So he's up by 10. Now he's down by 10. Now he's down by 7, right? He rolled a 2-1. And he's just playing safe. He could have possibly split his back checkers, but I think this is the right play. Try to prime it. 7, 10, 12. So Michael's up by 12 pips. So we're doing what's called a running pip count. And Michael's up by 12. He does split the back, man. Chris makes a nice roll. So up by 12. He loses 3. He's up by 9. He's up by 1 pip. Michael's up by 1 pip now. And he's got to come in on the bar. And he does. He rolls a 5-6. What's he going to do with that? He just quickly comes out. Doesn't even think about it. And partly because he's running low on time. Looks like he's down to 2 minutes and 48 seconds. So Michael, if I'm reading the clock right, is down on time. So he's playing fast. He's aware the time is down. He's not taking, unnecessary time off his clock. Let's take a look. Double 4 is very painful for Michael. We were saying how these players are coming in. Well, they're starting to stay out. Hey, Chris rolls double 3s. Boy, this is a really interesting play. Chris wins a gammon on this game. He wins the match. He can hit a checker in the outfield. That's got to be right. But he's making his 5-point, and then he'll come up with the other 2. Very interesting. That can't be wrong either. I mean, it's great. He's putting so much pressure. Michael has a good chance to stay out. And if he does, Chris can pick up that checker in the outfield. So, boy, he played it pretty quick. And Michael stays out. Chris rolls a 5 or a 6. Michael's getting hit. Of course, he rolls a 4-3. He's going to play 3 6-3, so he has an extra builder in his home board. And he'll play, he's not doing it. He's bringing 2 down. I don't understand it. Maybe he wants to make the bar. I'm not clear why he'd want to do that. Bar point doesn't seem to be the game plan of choice, but Michael rolled a 5-3. Chris is back to his 6s or 5s, and he rolls a 6. And he's going to come in and play the 1 6-5. So he has extra men bearing down. He could play 9 to 8, also give him an extra builder, but this builder also bears down on the 1 point, so it's a little better. And boy, Michael is having a tough time coming in on Chris's board. Chris rolls a 4 or 5. He's hitting on the 1 point to win the gammon and win the match. He's got a huge gammon chance here. He's coming in, hitting with a 5. He's going to bring the 2 obviously down from 9 to 7, so he's maximizing the number of ways he can cover that checker. Michael's got to be sweating. He's got 3 men on the bar. And he rolls a 2-1. Finally comes in. It's a great roll. Great roll. He hits him. He gets him on the bar. And now Chris is possibly thinking about doubling at this point. It's an interesting double. Would Michael want to take this? It takes away the gammon chance. See, what happens here is what's interesting. If Chris doubles, then Michael knows if he loses the game, he loses the match. So he might as well turn the cube, even if he's behind, to 4. Right? And now they're playing for the match. So what matters, gammons don't matter anymore. The only thing that matters is who's going to win the game. And if you look at it that way and don't consider gammons, Michael has not an unreasonable chance to win the game. Basically, he's saying, do I have a 33% chance or better of winning this game? That's really what this question boils down to. Is he going to win this game 1/3 of the time? Who knows? Probably not. It's an interesting double for Chris, but he is on the bar. Chris could stay out, and if Chris stays out, Michael has shots. So I think this is a take. It's a gutsy double by Chris, and Michael's just got to decide if he's having too good a time playing this match and wants to do it for a couple more games, or if he thinks he can end it all here. Because if he does take this double, this is going to be the last game of this match. Because on his very next turn, Michael's turning the cube. Even if Chris comes in and hits, and he's taking a sip of water. And he's taking the double. And there it is. Chris isn't happy. You can tell Chris did not want him to take that double. And a 4-2 is not a great roll. Not sure what you do with that 4-2. Maybe you, I think it's actually pretty obvious what you do. You play to the midpoint. So you play 15 to 13. That really reduces the number of good numbers dramatically for Michael. So you make that play, but he's not doing what? Oh, it's so interesting. I don't understand that. Really don't understand that play by Chris at all. Just reduced his chances so much. Did Michael turn the cube back to 4? I'm sure he did. I didn't see it happen before the play. It must have happened very quickly, but I'm sure it happened. 4-2 doesn't have to hit now. Chris is thinking, I don't need the gammon. I think it's still right to hit, believe it or not. Get him off the 1 point. If Michael can make that 1 point, he's in the game till the end. Bob Wartell wrote a book talking about that, and he's in the game to the end. Get him off that 1 point, and Chris has much better chances to win the game, as well as win more gammons. I know he doesn't want to win the gammons, so I still think it's the right play. This is all right, but Michael's going to, double, almost double the chance to anchor up here. So I'm not sure you'd want to do that, but Chris is thinking about that. It looks like he's reconsidering the play. He's got a big decision to make. If he plays that 4, then what's the right 2? I think the right 2 would be 15 or 13. But he is going to make that play. Michael's been staying out a lot, and maybe he'll stay out again, in which case, Chris will probably point on him. But Michael comes in with a 1 point, and now he's got a 5 to play. He's going to come out with that 5. Did that very quickly. Again, he's running low on time. Chris can't hit him there, but Chris can hit. Well, let's see. I'm sorry. Chris needed a 4. Chris needed a 2. I'm a little confused. Oh, red. He's red. Sorry. Okay. And so now it's White's roll. Michael's rolling, and would love to hit that Chris's checker. He can do it. And think it's the right play. Come in and hit him. He doesn't care about the gammon. Really kind of a no-brainer. Let Chris roll his 1-6, 3-6, 4-6. He rolled a 4. Double 4s. Oh, is that painful? It's a forced play. It's the second time in this match Chris has been punished by double 4s. Boy, does he wish he hadn't cubed this thing. Now he's a favorite. Michael's the favorite to win this game now. Controls the outfield. Chris has a crashing board. He rolls a 5. It's really bad. And he rolls the 5. He got the number. Chris, oh, it's the wrong 5. Okay. All right, we're looking for Michael to roll that 5. All right, Michael needs a 1 or a 3 to go and hit that checker. I'm so confused here. Did Michael take this double earlier and not cube it back? What is he thinking about? I am so confused as to why there is any thinking going on here. Unless Chris didn't turn the double before, and that's what happened. So that explains it. Chris never turned the cube. I thought he had. My mistake. And so now the cube is in the middle, and Michael is thinking, I think I've got a double here. And I think he does. I think it's a great double. You know, Chris can't risk getting gammoned, and Chris has some gammon. You know, Michael has some good chances to gammon. I think that was a great cube. It's interesting how he's playing this. Chose not to hit. And so let's go see what happens. He rolls double 2s. Chris, no, it doesn't have much choice here. He's going to run that checker all the way, and you know, leave men on the high points, at least in his home board. Doesn't want to play 5 to 3. He can hit with 5-2 or any kind of 1. He's got 13 numbers. Now he's thinking about it. He likes it. I don't know. Chris probably has a drop. What do you think, Marty? Marty Storr is joining us.
I may not be here for long, but
well, let's get you set up anyway. Let me get Marty set up. Do some commentary for us. Marty Storr. We talked about Marty earlier. Wrote a book. What's your game plan with Mary Hickey?
Testing.
You're on. I think you are on, Marty.
All right. Okay. So what do we have here? Where's the cube? Oh, okay. So red has got the cube.
Oh, so Michael doubled Chris, and Chris took it.
Oh, a double take. Okay, it's reasonable. I mean, White has got work to do.
White has work to do.
White has 2 checkers behind a 4 point.
But Chris can get gammoned here, Marty.
Yeah,
that's
he
the
can get
thing.
gammoned,
At this score, ooh, what a dangerous pick.
As yet, White only has a 3-point board, and red is an advancing. So there's a lot of play in the position. I mean, that's one problem with taking a 2 cube. You know, at this score, as
losing the match.
The cube is dead now.
Cube's dead, and gammons don't count.
Gammons only count
for Michael.
For Michael, but you know, he's not in severe gammon danger at all. I think I agree with the take for sure.
Oh, 4-1. Oh, he's going to roll again. They're playing. They are not playing dice on checkers either. And now it's Michael's turn to roll double 4s. You have to or you don't.
I believe that's the term of the rule.
It might be the term of the rule. Marty, I'm going to give you my chair so we can see you on camera.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'll
scoot you over a little bit.
Hello. Good. Up close and personal here. Okay,
that's
so
right.
6-4 White. Okay, and running is, you know,
clear. Oh, but Chris is in good shape, though.
Checkers.
Chris got a lot of numbers.
See, I mean, there's a lot of play.
There's a lot. He rolls 4-1.
Double 4 was bad.
Oh, he rolls 4-1. He got a 5-point board. Chris is in
Chris is hoping
charge.
Michael stays out, and
Michael has been staying out. Yeah, this is amazing. Great take by Chris. 4-2.
4-2 breaks the.
Unbelievable. Oh, poor Chris. He couldn't roll a 3, 5, or a 6. Anti-joker. Oh, what a cruel game. But it's not over. Michael's got to come in. And Michael stays out. So Chris made a bad roll, but Michael made an even worse one. And a 6-2 comes out.
Now, it's interesting. He can leave it there to
duplicate
the 4 in case.
I like it.
Duplicate White's 4 to hit on the 4-point, which you not even do with a 10.
Yeah, I like Chris's play. Even though you're giving him you're not giving him any extra numbers either.
Yeah, so
I like it.
He stays there, and actually he's got.
Good play, Chris. Marty and I agree. That was the play. Can he come in?
One more hitting number.
Look at Michael. 3. Was that 3 or 4 in a row?
3 or 4.
Oh my gosh, this is really tough. Now, Chris, I don't know what he's thinking about. Oh, what did he roll? He rolled 5-3.
Yeah, he's got some choices, but I guess he's gonna take aim.
Yeah,
that's one way to take aim.
He could duplicate a few numbers though.
Well, okay, so
this leaves double 5s too.
He could play. He could play like a wimp. He could play 18 and 10, 21, 18. and then minimize
Yeah.
shots. But
Yeah.
we could play like
I like
this.
this play. I like this play.
You could play like this, which
One, you got sixes,
is
fives, and ones.
One extra hitting number, is that it? No, he duplicates
Yeah,
five, so it should be the same number of hitting.
But he gives them double sixes.
Same number, but double fives is good the other way too.
Yeah, that's right. So it's even. Yeah.
I think it's even.
Well, this might be a little better because his checkers are closer at home.
Well, yeah, he's got a double shot if he fans or if he rolls badly. Otherwise, okay, so he's thinking about this.
Well, double sixes plays well for Chris next time. That's for sure.
Double sixes
plays well for everybody.
Covers.
Oh, 6-1. Yes. What a great roll. Look at that. Chris is saying, oh, I don't know. That's it. Can Chris come in on a 1?
Hit back fan. Now he fans.
Rolls a 2-6 from the bar and he fans.
Chris is on the bar now.
Yeah, this is tough for Chris. Game turnaround.
5-2. Okay, so no hit, but yes cover.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to cover
Clearly
the ace point
with
with the 5, and he's going to come out with a back checker to the 17 point to maximize shots at the blot on White's 9.
Unless he rolls double 4s, it does leave him.
Yeah, he duplicates 4s, right? And
yep.
and he doesn't give a
double 4s is a nice roll.
Double 4s would be preferable.
Yeah.
But no, okay, so that I don't like because that's going to give more shots at the blot. It's going to give basically an extra 5-3.
Yeah, extra bite at the apple.
And 6-2.
And Chris comes in and he rolls the double 4s. He actually rolled it. He picks up both checkers.
Now, Gammon, winning a Gammon doesn't matter, but that's really great for winning the game.
That is the roll of the game, double 4s. And Michael comes in with 1. So can Chris roll double, 2s? Let's see. Oh, he rolls 6-5 and he's on his way. Chris is on his way to winning this match. 6-4, 6-5, double 5s. Ooh, he stays on. They're not playing dice on checkers.
That's strange. I thought it was a
yeah, well, we'll see what happens. And he rolls a 4-1. He stays out. That was Chris.
Yeah, Chris was on the.
Can he roll it up?
4-1 block shot time.
That's amazing.
No, he must hit now.
He's got to hit the lower chances, right?
That's right, to minimize. He
although,
doesn't want to leave 13 shots. He wants to leave
and he's not going to get gammon. So, there's no chance of a gammon.
Hardly.
Yeah.
It's not worth
he
2
could
shots.
completely avoid it.
And fan. And
this is
he can roll a big set.
Michael cannot come in.
But he doesn't roll a big set.
So he plays the 2, takes 1, check.
No. He's going to play safe. He's going to play completely safe. He's not going to. Because he doesn't want too big. He doesn't want 2 big doubles in a row.
Yeah. Well, all right.
We'll
see. He is staying out.
Yeah, he's just going to play safe.
5-3. And that looks good, unless he rolls a 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 next time.
Yeah, you can.
And look at Michael staying out. Michael wants to stay out.
Followed by something.
And he did. There it is, a 4-1. Is Michael going to bring both in, or is he going to stay out for another? He wants to stay out.
He does.
No, but it's nice on checker.
No. Okay. So he's rolling in.
Oh, he's got 1 in. All right, here we go. We got 4 numbers. Does he do it? He rolls double 5s. This is unbelievable. Is anything that could happen? Can Michael roll the 3 and stay in the game? This is it. This is the roll of the match. Match is over. They shake hands. Could not do it. Marty Storr, thank you for joining us. Exciting finish. Your timing was perfect. Larry Shiller, voice of Backgammon. All right, well, good luck in your match. Thanks for joining us at Voice of Backgammon at the Texas Backgammon Championships. Larry Shiller, voice of Backgammon, signing off. We'll be back with more commentary and streaming.